Good day. I'm Milt Schoen, and welcome to America Salutes. Today we have as our guest Dan Tengwall, the Carver County Veterans Service Officer, and it's a pleasure to have you, Dan.
Thanks for having me, Milt.
Well, why don't we start out by telling us, our viewers, a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, I've been in the National Guard for almost 14 years, mostly artillery branches. I just finished up my 2 years as a commander out in a unit out in Montevideo, Minnesota, so the Minnesota National Guard. But on the civilian side, I've had a lot of background with veterans benefits. Spent about 4 years at the Department of Veterans Affairs at the Whipple building in Fort Snelling there. And then I moved on to Hennepin County Veterans Services for a couple of years, about 2.5. Recently, September 2nd of 2014 here, I was given the job of Carver County Veterans Service Officer, and that's where I am today.
Very good. And why don't you tell us about some of the challenges of serving Carver County, because it's a suburban and an ex-urban county?
Sure, yeah, and you're exactly right. It's kind of where city meets rural. You know, we have communities such as Chaska or Chanhassen. Those have been big for a while, but they're starting to get a lot bigger. We have small towns that are starting to boom, such as Carver. Waconia is getting a lot bigger, and then we have some communities on the western edge of the county, like New Germany and Watertown, or Norwood Young America and Watertown, and they're getting large as well. But it's a larger county that spreads out. In the last 20 years, the county's population has doubled, and so it's been interesting identifying veterans in the county and who we have out there.
And you mentioned that your county doubled. We've got a County Veteran Service Officer grant program, and you could tell us a little bit about what that can do for you.
Sure. Several years ago, the state legislature granted basically an operational enhancement grant for county veteran service officers. The idea is you're going to get a base amount from the state of $7,500, and then depending on your population, you'll get an extra amount. Ours equals out to $12,500 because we have 4,930 veterans in our county. Since I've been there, the several months that I've been working there, I've been noticing that our technology is kind of lacking, and those are some big costs for a county like Carver. Right. So I'm planning on using that $12,500 to kind of put a little shot in the arm to our computers, our technology, our connectivity, and so on.
And with your population going up, I suspect your veterans numbers are going up?
They are. That's the hope. I mean, that would make sense. Like I said, the last year's study from the VA was 4,930. It's just under 5,000. I would expect that it would tick up a little bit more as we get bigger in those communities of Chanhassen and Chaska.
And would that increase your grant if you got over 5,000?
Yes, it would. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's the part that I kind of have. I've been kind of watching. We go from $12,500 to $1,500 in 70 more veterans. So.
And you have a new VA clinic in your area in Shakopee. Do you want to say a little bit about the impact of that on your business?
Yeah, we do. You know, going back to your question about the toughest part, or the parts that I'm seeing that are difficult, identifying veterans who qualify for VA medical coverage. You'll get anywhere between 61 years old and maybe 68 years old, either pre-retirement or post-retirement for a veteran, and they'll want to start using the VA at that time. Well, the thing they have to remember is, and this isn't an overall, but it's kind of like a rule of thumb, you either need to be out of a combat area within the last 5 years to qualify for VA coverage, or lower income, lower asset, or have a service-connected disability. There are other ways to get in there, but that's kind of the three general ways.
So there's a 5-year exemption if you serve in a combat theater.
That's right, yep.
And anybody coming back qualifies and is not subject to the means test.
They do, yep, the means test, exactly. And what the means test is it basically looks at how much money you and your spouse, if you have a spouse, make, how much money you have in assets, etc., and that helps qualify you.
So if I'm a veteran in Carver County and I don't understand my benefits, your role is to?
Educate, actually. Basically, if you're going to come in and you've never been into my office before, I'm going to sit you down. walk you through, get all your paperwork copied into my system, like your service document, maybe your marriage certificate, birth certificates of your children, etc. And then we'll start to talk about what you have available. A thing I like to go for a lot is, let's say you're an Air Force vet and you did a lot of work around aircraft. Well, there's a good chance that you have what's called tinnitus, or ringing in the ears, or probably bilateral hearing loss. We're going to want to, pursue that as a service-connected disability, because then that will help loop you into the VA system a lot easier. And in the end, if you need something like hearing aids or some kind of ear care, it's going to come free from the VA for that specific disability.
So what you're saying is, if a veteran has a service-connected disability, that gets them over the means test. They don't have to worry about the means test.
It does. That's a really good thing to remember. A lot of veterans will go ahead and say, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I've been doing this for long enough. I don't have anything going on. Well, I would challenge them to maybe re-look at that, because a lot of times there is something that affected them while they're in service and still affects them to this day. And that will help them get VA health coverage, the thing that they're looking for.
Now, it's one thing to be qualified for VA health care, it's another thing to get there. So are there things that you do for transportation for your veterans to ensure they get service?
Yeah, we are in an interesting part of the state where we'll actually interact with the VA Medical Center in Minneapolis, the new Shakopee Clinic, which is right over the Minnesota River, and also St. Cloud VA Medical Center. Some of our Watertown vets are north enough that they'll just drive straight up there. We offer currently veterans transportation to the VA Medical Center in Minneapolis. Starting in January, we're going to offer 1 day a week service to the Shakopee Clinic. And generally, when people need to get up to the St. Cloud VA Medical Center, we'll hopefully have a solution for them if they don't have one themselves. Yeah. That's at no cost to the veteran, and we pick them up at their home if they're in Carver County, give them a ride down there, make sure they get to their appointments on time. The veterans really like it.
Very good. And what is the thing that brings most veterans to your door? Is that health care?
Right now it is, I think. I would like to see it become more of a health care and possibly service-connected disability, just because like I said, there are a lot of veterans out there that are getting to that age where their hearing is just going. And any time before, let's say 1985, if you served, you may not have had things like hearing protection, earplugs to put in when you went to something as simple as going to the range or working around, excuse me, like a deuce-and-a-half engine or something like that. But right now it is healthcare is a big ticket item.
So, and you mentioned people being service-connected and the hearing situation. So if somebody, let's say, served in an artillery unit or an armor,
tell me about it.
There may be a good chance that they could file a claim for hearing loss.
Yep. I think the hearing protection that used to be was left and right finger, put them in, stick them in before the thing goes off. Well, if you weren't lucky enough and you only got one in and not the other, you might have heard like this ringing noise or a background noise after the boom went off of an artillery shell, for example. If 20 years down the road you're still hearing that noise, that's probably not very good. It's what's called tinnitus or tinnitus, and what that is it's basically a symptom of hearing loss where it's a background noise, it started in your service, it still affects you to this day. That is a service-connected disability.
Very good. And one of the challenges for you to serve your veterans is to have a platform to do that from. And as we were discussing earlier, you mentioned the grant and what that can do for you, and that you are going to be investing in technology for the long haul.
Definitely. Right now, we've actually partnered with our libraries. We have a lot of different community libraries out there, and what I'm starting to do is meeting veterans at the local library. They have rooms already, they're already connected with internet, and we can just kind of go off into our corner into that room, get what we need done. My computer hooks up with the library's printers, everything can be signed, dated, sent off from that location, and it can be done right there. It's very convenient for both sides.
And one of the things that's occurring now the VA is moving toward a system where there is online access.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the improvement that makes.
Well, it is an improvement in that you can go online and see where your claim is. You can go online and order medications and stuff like that if you feel comfortable with that. But what I would really stress is not to go online and just file a claim by yourself, right? There's people out there like county veteran service officers like me that are there to help you. Give us a call, shoot us an email, however, stop in and ask us the questions. There's no stupid questions in our office. We'll definitely point you in the right direction and hopefully get you what you're looking for.
It's been my experience in Hennepin that the people file claims online on their own, that we spend a disproportionate amount of time trying to straighten those claims out.
Exactly. No, it's I will definitely see my veterans in my office, I would hope, but hopefully not to clean up their claim. Hopefully it is to get their claim right done the first time.
And that you can apply the veterans for all the conditions for which they may be eligible for.
Absolutely. Yep, that's right. That's right.
Okay. So, we've focused on the healthcare system and the technology, but one of the things within the VA system is there's tremendous change. We've got this VA choice that's come up, and but in terms of how do you stay on top of all the changes with the VA so that you're able to serve your veterans better?
So, that's a good question. I don't think we would be in Minnesota, the CVSOs would be nearly as successful as they were without the training that we get annually. Generally, in the spring months, we'll go to a location and have a conference for 3 days where we do anything from training on new or old policies that maybe we need to brush up on, and we'll just chat about what's going on with the VA right now, what kind of things are we seeing, what problems are we having, and we're able to come to some solutions on that. We work really close with the regional office in St. Paul. That's one thing that our state and county veteran service officers do very well. Our state Department of Veterans Affairs is very strong, and they're a good liaison between the federal side and the county side. And then in the fall also, we have our annual training where we get great speakers like Ron Abrams, or I think one year you guys had the secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs in. Yeah, I mean those are that kind of helps make this job easy to do. Not easy, but better to do.
And one of the things we should mention is that we've got the #1 VA regional office in the country.
Absolutely, we do. And
we've had directors say that at least 35% of the business that they do is because of the work that county veteran service officers do.
Yeah,
I think we've got a minute left here, so if you want to dwell on that.
I would just say that one thing that our regional office does in St. Paul better than anybody else is they go as far to think out of the box to say, okay, how can we better communicate with those third parties that we're doing business with to make sure that the claims that are coming into our office are good, are quality. They went as far as to hire a guy named Ron Woolery, who's the change management agent, who his basic job is to answer phone calls from us, to solve problems at that VA level, to come out and speak with us, to spread news of things changing, to take questions, etc. It's really been a great help for our organization.
And so if you had a veteran in your county that had a question, the first thing the veteran should do is to
pick up the phone and call their county veteran service officer.
Very good. Well, I want to thank you, Dan, for this informative interview.
Absolutely.
And you're one of the future leaders in our county veteran service officers, and I want to thank you for what you do for veterans.
Thank you, Milt. Thanks for having me.
I know you're going to be successful in the years ahead.
Absolutely.
And for America Salutes, this is Milt Schoen, and I want to thank you for watching our program, and we hope you found it informative, and we'll be back with another guest in a bit.